Hey y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and start this with do not send hate to beggars of TikTok. This is for educational purposes. This is an examination of poor people fighting against poor people while acknowledging that the rich are actually the problem. I went to Beggars of TikTok's live, and when I came in, Beggars was talking about how they have multiple accounts that they use to harass certain people when they're live. And, right off the bat, that's not great, right? But I stayed and I even engaged in the comments, and Beggars was very dead set on ignoring my existence. But Beggars kept talking, and I learned a lot. Beggars is a poor white woman in Ohio with a family and four dogs, one of them being a Rottweiler. And unfortunately, in Ohio, it is required that they have a fence because they have what is legally identified as a dangerous breed in Ohio. Beggars can't get on public assistance because their husband makes too much income, but insists that begging is the problem and will even go out of their way to use multiple accounts to harass beggars. And at the same time, beggars gets it. Something that stood out to me was that beggars said the rich are going to get richer, the poor are going to get poorer, and the middle class is going to pay for it all. They also talked about price gouging and the cost of groceries and everything. It was really weird to sit in that live and get both sides of the spectrum in one person. It's weird to encounter somebody who gets it, but they will still go and fight their neighbors because the rugged individualism of capitalism has taught us that the other poor people aren't our neighbors when we actually are neighbors. Even though Beggars is all the way in Ohio and I'm all the way in Minnesota, I still can talk to beggars. I can't talk to Jeff Bezos. I can't talk to Taylor Swift. Beggars and I can talk to each other. We're neighbors. And I don't know if there's anything I or somebody else could do or say to be able to convince beggars and other poor people that we shouldn't be fighting each other. Um, Especially when they already get it, they already know what the problem is. I just hope that everybody gets what they need. That's what I hope for. And I do my part by educating people on homelessness, educating people on socialism and communism, and distributing mutual aid, whatever that looks like in the moment, because my mutual aid has had to change due to my health changing. And that's all I can really hope for as one individual person. But knowing that I, one individual person, combined with other individuals, and we make a group, I know that we have a lot more power. And I would not encourage anyone to use your power against other poor people because you're a lot closer to the sidewalk than you are to the sky high rise. And that's all I wanted to say about this. Um, I also wanted to go to the other side of that and say that it's hard to convince poor white people that what they're doing is harmful. Because poor white people don't believe that they have white privilege because they're poor. You still very much have white privilege. It's just like a tier system. And your economic status affects your tier. You're still doing better than me because you're white. But you're not going to see a whole lot of that because you're not a part of the elite white. And the way that I was taught to explain this was you can still have access to other things. And you still don't have to worry about certain things. Like, as a poor white person, you still don't have to worry about the cops harassing you. You still don't have to worry about being followed around in a grocery store. You still don't have to worry about going into areas where you don't belong, because as a white person, you belong everywhere. Because that's what colonization has set up for you. And I suppose they don't see it like that because they see it as that's the way everyone is supposed to be treated, but they're not. And it's evident that they're not. And poor white people somehow just skip over that. But they don't feel the white privilege because the higher up white people still get to use them as cannon fodder for capitalism. And that's the problem. Because the reason why poor white people don't have things is because the elites don't want black and natives to have it. That's the reason why we don't have universal health care. And you don't have to believe me, you can look it up. We don't have universal health care because they don't want black people to have it. And then it falls onto poor white people because it's set up based in economics, and economics is structured to keep black people in poverty. And let's say a few neighborhoods down, your middle class black neighbors do have health care. That doesn't change the fact that black people are still more likely to be mistreated in the healthcare system, no matter how much money they make. But they are still considered poor just because they're still considered the 98%. As long as you're not in the high rise, you're not getting that healthcare. You're still like way more likely to die in childbirth, your counterparts. You're still way more likely for your pain to be ignored than your white counterparts, and so on and so forth. And you really don't have to believe me. You can look all of this up. So yeah. And that's what I wanted to say about that section. Again, no hate to beggars TikTok. It's just that poor people need to do a better job of uniting against the rich and not trying to mobilize against other poor people. Y'all take care. Get everything you need and get everything you want.